Should MLB The Show add more modes to Diamond Dynasty? Should we have a separate competitive mode to try to compete against similarly skilled players online? Should there be more to do with co-op in this game? I'm going to try to answer these questions and go through what I think MLB The Show should consider doing in terms of restructuring the different modes that we have in Diamond Dynasty. This is the second episode of my State of the Show series. We're going to talk about the state of the game and what I think we could really do to potentially improve MLB The Show. And today we're going to be talking about the different modes in Diamond Dynasty and go through why I think there should be some change and hopefully some improvements to what we have to do in Diamond Dynasty. So first of all, I want to go through the current state of the game, our different modes, kind of identify what problems there are within our modes in Diamond Dynasty right now, and try to see if we could tackle and solve said problems. And then come up with new modes and restructures to the current modes in the game and see how these would work and try to visualize what I think this game should be doing. I've been someone who's been playing Diamond Dynasty ever since about MLB The Show 18, so it's been about 4 years, give or take, and not much has really changed. A lot of our online modes are the same, some of our offline modes are very similar. I think it would be valuable for them to consider restructuring all of our modes in the game and offering different avenues for people to play, so this game can have more longevity in terms of playing it throughout the year, and everyone can get the experience that they're looking for on the game. So let's hop on into the current state of DD and see what we have going on right now. We have our offline modes. Obviously, you have mini seasons and showdown, which are relatively new modes over the last couple years, but conquest and play versus CPU has pretty much been the same. Our programs are a fair bit of offline content since you have moments and things to grind in here. And these aren't bad, but also these programs seem to get a little bit repetitive, and there's only so much you could do directly for these programs. Like for example, with these featured programs, you're just kind of completing XP and getting it as you go by playing the game. There's only so much you could do to directly grind out this program. These individual programs as well require parallel XP and for you to complete tasks by just passively playing the game. So a lot of MLB The Show is based on just grinding out the game, finding an avenue you enjoy to play, getting parallel XP, getting XP into programs, and so on. Downside is, right now, I don't think there are too many avenues to play the game, because if you're someone who likes to play offline or online, there aren't many paths for you to follow, and not everyone is trying to get the same thing out of MLB The Show. For example, some people just really enjoy playing offline very casually. Thing is, you really just have mini seasons as a repetitive mode. Conquest, you know, you get different conquest maps. It is still pretty repetitive, but at least you get unique rewards. And showdowns are very limited in the amount that we even have in the year. So if you're someone who plays offline, there isn't that much depth for you in what you can do. And it feels a little bit repetitive. So we're going to talk about some offline changes I would like to see to try to mend some of these problems. Then we have our online modes, and obviously ranked battle royale events are the big ones. With how online modes work in this game, you're playing the modes to earn a player. That's really it. There isn't that much of a competitive mode. Ranked might be the closest we have to a competitive based mode, but it doesn't really work that way because you're basically playing to make World Series tally innings, and not many people are playing this mode with the basis of actually trying to really get better at the game. They're trying to get their rewards, which isn't a bad thing, but I think it requires some tuning if you really want to get a big competitive mode in the game. BR, I think, is honestly pretty fine on its own. But again, this mode is based on just earning stubs and players for your team. And events is definitely also the same way. It's a more casual version of the 3 because it's not as crazy the skill-based matchmaking. It's not as stressful as BR is. So basically, you have a wide range of experiences for playing online, but you see the problem. The goal is just getting players and getting stubs. And it's not like a bad thing, but there comes a point in a lot of the year where it's like, hey, is it really worth me doing this thing? And usually the answer becomes no. You know, I have 220k stubs. Do I really want to grind the event to get these players? Maybe not. The goal of a lot of online content in this game is just incentivizing getting players. So I would love to see more competition. You know, let's allow people to try to get better at the game, and we really incentivize competition and people getting better and playing people of similar skill level, because even in ranked seasons, you're really not always playing people in the similar skill level to you. And then you have co-op. We got to add co-op in other avenues to the game. Right now, it's basically work in progress fashion right now. This year is the test year for that, seemingly. I'm going to go through what I think they should do with co-op to add more unique avenues to play this game. And finally, I'm going to talk about casual a little bit, because casual seems like it would be a 9-inning unrated game to just, you know, practice and get good. Thing is, you don't get like XP out of these games. You don't get parallel XP out of this. A lot of times there isn't much incentive to play this. Also, not many people play it, so I'll talk about how we could find a way, have the casual folk find a way to enjoy this game online. But without further ado, let's hop on into my little graphics and what I came up with in terms of restructuring our modes in Diamond Dynasty. So these are the concept images that I made up. First, I have 3 main mode sections in Diamond Dynasty. You have offline content, solo online content, and then co-op content. I really think if MLB The Show wants to grow as a game, co-op is a great way to do it. Finding ways to play with people would really help this game, give more people more drive to play it. Right now, co-op isn't doing enough because there isn't much incentive, no rewards to go for. Because like I said, a lot of MLB The Show is really based on, rewards. So I would love to see co-op be expanded and find unique ways to get co-op involved. And obviously our main solo online modes like BR, events, and so on. And then we have our offline modes. And I don't know how much I would really change here, but I guess at least the start would be mini seasons. As you see on the top left there, I have solo/co-op. I think at least a fun mode in this game would be mini seasons, adding regular rewards to mini seasons. We haven't gotten enough of that this year. A lot of the rewards just been basic packs and all that, which isn't enough incentive for offline grinding these mini seasons. Add unique fun players for completing a mini season and offer different avenues to complete it. You could do it solo or you could do it co-op with friends. I think it'd be fun to, hop on with your friends, play a co-op mini season, just hang out, chat, play very casually versus CPU. I think that'd be very fun if they found a way to make that happen. But you could also play it solo. But in terms of mini seasons, I want to see them do more with it. It's kind of very basic in its current state. My only offline change, find a way to make mini seasons very fun, offer different avenues to grind the programs for offline players. I would love to see, more things to do with Conquest and Showdown throughout the year, because those modes are really just all for completing stuff in the program. It would be fun if you found a way to make these modes a little bit more entertaining as the year went on. As you see here, I did a little bit of shuffling in these modes. First of all, I renamed ranked seasons to seasons because as you see right below me here, competitive. I have an idea of what I think a competitive mode would hopefully look like in MLB The Show based off of other games that I've played outside of the show that have a good competitive mode. I think this is really a mode that really encourages people to play the game longer. If you're someone who plays the game all the time, it's tough to keep on getting you to want to repeat grinding for different players and rewards and all that. But you could really encourage a competitive mode to help people want to get better at this game and try to compete. There isn't that much of that right now. Really, the closest we have to competing is ranked seasons trying to get to World Series, which is fun, but doesn't do a good enough job of being competitive. And really, it stops once you get to World Series for a large majority of people. Some people play past 900 rating, but such a small minority of people. So I think using a separate competitive mode would be fun for people to play people similar in their skill level, encourage people to get better, and really encourage competitive play, which is something that clearly SDS is working on with the circuits and all that, but those events don't happen often enough for that to really be done well. Then Battle Royale, I honestly don't know if there's much to change in BR. Seasons is basically just ranked seasons, but I basically made some minor tunes with it to basically just focus on the reward side of thing. You could keep it similar to how ranked seasons works, like make it a road to World Series, but the goal is just to get the player. A lot of people play ranked to get the player for getting World Series and all that, so I restructured that. Events I honestly have pretty similar. I think they're pretty fine in their structure as is. Then there's casual and competitive, and I want to talk about those two hand in hand. But first, let's go into what I think a competitive mode should look like in this game. So this is what I would love to see in terms of a competitive mode. Everyone would basically start at square one. There wouldn't be much difference between where people overall start. It might depend on your previous season and where you placed then. You kind of start off in that lower half of the overall ratings. And all these ratings are equidistant from each other. So it's the same amount of points to go from one rating to another. And really, instead of ranked where, they're trying to make World Series, that's really where it all stops. The goal here is to kind of work your way through the ranks, play at the ranks that, you deserve to be playing at. You're really focused on the skill-based matchmaking component of this, and really encourage people to push their way through the ranks and try to get World Series and be amongst the best of the best players in the game. So basically it would work kind of how like ranked would be, but instead a little bit more strict. Basically, say I place in spring training after I play a bunch of placement games. These will determine which place you start off in. You have a certain amount of points to achieve in that individual division. You have to win against people in that same division to work your way up to the next one. So I'll play against spring training level players, win enough games until I get up to regular season, then I'll jump up to that next regular season. And maybe what'll happen as you work your way, the first half of difficulties may be on all-star difficulty. Then you start to dabble into Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty and the higher difficulties. Because the thing with MLB The Show is difficulties matter. And, playing Legend, I think, is a very fun experience for those of us who are really trying to compete and play well on this game. I would love to have that be a part of this. And what this solves is when you're playing ranked seasons, like if I'm at the all-star ratings, I don't want to match up with someone 200 points rated higher than me playing on Hall of Fame or Legend, and I'm just trying to play on all-star. If you're someone who is good enough to stick around all-star, then you could stick around in those ratings on all-star, play against those similarly matched players. So the goal is to really work your way through the ranks. If you've ever played Rocket League, Valorant, games like that have like a ranking system, you have a very strict competitive mode all about ranking, and there are no player rewards in this. Basically, you just earn XP and stubs for just playing total amount of games. You don't get any particular players. If you did get players, literally only keep it to innings. Like if you play a certain amount of games or a certain amount of innings, then you get a player just to kind of incentivize you to play it more. But I don't think you should do that. Just allow people to work through the ranks, no actual players for rewards in the ranks. And the main reason this would work is because now you're incentivizing the rank. People are playing it to actually try to make the different rankings. Really, all people play ranked is to try to make World Series, and that's basically it. So it'd be cool to have a mode where people really can use their teams, play 9-inning games, and play against similarly skilled players. But I think they should have some rewards for different tiers. They should be nothing more than cosmetic things. So I made some concepts here. Imagine you get a jersey based on the ranking that you place. So the higher the ranking you get a cooler looking jersey, something unique that you can show off in game. Also, maybe access to a different stadium. I took my dude Captain Tater Tot's Coliseum Stadium. What if you got like a unique stadium that only you had access to by getting to those rankings? It's not like an overpowered thing. It's something that really makes you have an advantage. It's just something in game that you can kind of flex in the game and show off that like, hey, I play at this rating. And you could do more with this, like maybe custom stadium props. Maybe you have like a stadium that you normally play at. You could hang banners based on how many times you got World Series. Stuff like that would be very cool. Stuff that we can add to kind of show off like, hey, I'm at this rating. You get some cool cosmetic things to incentivize you showing off those ranks. And then the only other things you would get are stub and XP rewards for innings and just playing the game over time. So there is incentive to play it because a lot of this game is incentivized about earning players and all of that. So like at least let me get program progress for playing this mode. Let me get PXP. Stuff like that. What are all the points that I think are most important about this mode? You make it about the ranking. Your goal is to work your way through the ranks. There are other games, plenty of other games that don't give an advantage for getting certain rankings or getting things. You're playing to achieve different ranking. It really pushed the competitive side of this game. Really encourage more people to go out there and really try to win. You play ranked seasons all the damn time, people quit. It sucks. And this would be a good avenue for you to really build your team and get the best players and allow people to try to improve. And really a fun mode for people who play the game all the time. Because those of us who play the game all year, we get really tired at certain points just repeating events and BR programs and ranked programs. It can get a little tiring sometimes. So having something else to encourage us to keep on playing online would be really good. And it would incentivize the casual mode more, and some changes that I would love to see to casual mode, because right now it feels very, very purposeless. So for casual mode, basically you would keep it like the same structure as a normal competitive game, but you still find some incentive to reward people for playing it. So like give XP and stubs for tallying casual innings. Doesn't need to be much. I've only heard of people in chat stuff occasionally play casual to play a warm-up game. Like, do people really stay in games like that? I think it would be valuable to just have like a separate casual mode, let people get their reps in 9-inning games. You don't need to add any player rewards, but just like some basic things that reward you for playing it. Because some people just want to play 9-inning games with their team and don't really want to sweat their butt off. That's what people do in ranked a lot. They go into ranked, they play very casually, and you know, they probably want to match up with people who are also trying to play casually like that. So I think it would be valuable to really work on casual mode and find a way to incentivize people playing it more, and hopefully a competitive mode would do a better job of doing that. And you could keep it all locked on one difficulty, like have the casual mode be on All-Star, have it be using their God Squad 9-inning games, and give them like XP and stubs and all that for the program for playing in these casual games if they want to do it, just so people could have some fun playing the game very casually online with, 9-inning games with their God squads. Now, what happens to ranked seasons? What do you do with ranked seasons now that we're adding a full-blown competitive mode? Competitive is the ranked mode. That's where your rating matters. So just call it seasons. Instead of 9-inning games, keep them 6 innings. A lot of people talk about how 9-inning games are a grind and all that. You can make them shorter games. Focus on the grind to get to World Series. Make it where everyone starts off at 0 rating. Make it acquirable for everyone. The goal isn't to give players exclusive players they can only get. Enough people could play enough and get it. So like a little bit more incentive than something than just playing for wins and events. There'd still be that award of getting the World Series player right away while they're more expensive. And it would still, reward some skill for the people who are getting more wins. But, this could be another structure to use your God Squad teams and competing a little bit. But the goal is to get the World Series player. And, getting World Series, not everyone can get World Series in the current state of the game. So what you could do is just make it a road to World Series. You just focus on getting to that point. And it really adds separation from competitive, because separate that and competitive. And now you could give more people that incentive for competition in that competitive mode. This could be a little bit more casual version of ranked, which is all about getting a player. And it keeps the mode reward based. It's all about getting the player, but it makes it less of an overall grind. Basically, casual is just the very casual way to play 9-inning games with your God Squad team. Try to, practice, get better at the game. Seasons is the mode that ranked seasons basically is now, but you make it easier to get to the World Series, to get the player, and you make it a goal to get to the path to the World Series to get a really good player. Maybe you could add other players along the way for the fun of it. There's a little bit of a different avenue to earn these World Series players, because the battle they're having this year in MLB The Show is making World Series incentivized enough to get or grind the innings enough, but also they're trying to keep it somewhat a competitive mode. That's why you play against similar people or similar skill, which it doesn't really achieve enough. Thus, why we have competitive, which would be all about your ranking, incentivizing people working their way up through the ranks and trying to help them get better at the game, playing competition. And then you could really start to dabble in like competitive MLB The Show events and all that a lot more easily when you have a competitive mode in the game, to allow people to really want to get better at the game and compete. This would kind of be like what MLB The Show would add to be an equivalent of like Weekend League. Like I know a lot of people want a Weekend League mode like Madden has. And that leads us to the last part I want to talk about, our co-op online modes. Because I mentioned earlier, we want to incentivize co-op as a mode in this game. I think there are a few avenues to creatively add co-op without making it too difficult. First of all, events. The events like we have normal DD right now, but you could also go down that path playing co-op. You play like 3-inning games, co-op with a friend or two. You just match up against other people and you could just go for the wins in there. People want a reward path for playing co-op, and this could be an easy avenue of doing it. Add an event or something for us to grind that isn't really too much about competition. Just some more incentive to get people to play co-op so they can get some sort of players, which is a big part about Diamond Dynasty right now. Then you could have your casual, like kind of like what co-op is right now, where, you play a 6-inning game, 9-inning game, I think it would be. And you just play co-op with a friend. It doesn't really mean much, but, you maybe get XP and stubs for playing the game still. And then you have competitive co-op, where you play co-op with friends. And like you would have in games like Rocket League and other games, you have a co-op ranking, and you work your way up the ranks as a team, which could be really fun because now you're really incentivizing co-op play. You're trying to get people to get better at the game together. I think that could be really fun as another avenue to play the game. Ranked in events and BR and the main modes could probably stay separate. You could maybe add different variations of them co-op. Like it could be unique if you allow people to complete them cooperatively as well, but I think it's fine as of right now to keep them separate. Just having some sort of reward path for players who play co-op, and then having like a fun online competitive version of co-op would be cool. And the only concern of having these modes is that maybe you're splitting up the player base a bit. But I think with how MLB The Show is nowadays, we would easily find enough players to make all these things happen. You gotta give people enough encouragement to want to play these modes. Right now, I think we could have enough people to at least start these things and build a foundation for competitive modes and more modes in co-op. But I think that would really extend the length of the enjoyment of the show, give you more avenues to play it, And I really think this would be a great way to improve Diamond Dynasty in terms of the modes that we have to play. Let me know how you feel about these concepts in the comments down below. I know this is a long discussion. I honestly might care a little bit too much about a competitive mode in this game, but I don't know. If you enjoy this type of conceptual type of discussion on the show, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I'll definitely be doing more of this as we go on throughout the year. But I hope you guys enjoy this type of series. My goal is really, just discuss MLB The Show, not play the game. Just offer a discussion about the state of MLB The Show. I'll see you guys again on the next video tomorrow. Deuces.